Hey guys, welcome to Admit 3, where we discuss all things movies, media, and television. I'm Laura.
I'm Kurt.
I'm Rob.
Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back, everybody. Today we'll be discussing M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin, an apocalyptic horror thriller based on the acclaimed novel The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. The film centers around a 7-year-old girl named Wen and her two fathers, Eric and Andrew, who are vacationing at a remote cabin when four mysterious strangers show up and present them with a nightmarish scenario. Sacrifice one of your own, or the whole world comes to an end. Knock at the Cabin's marketing has suggested that the film will keep you guessing until the very end. So fair warning, we'll be chatting about spoilers from both the movie and the book. Kurt, you're the one who introduced me to the book, and I know you were really looking forward to seeing what M. Night did with the source material. What do you think of the movie?
I liked it. I thought it was solid enough for the most part. I don't want to get into the changes that I didn't like until we go around the table and get, a quick reaction.
Fair.
But I liked it enough. I thought it was solid, easy breezy.
We'll cover.
Yeah, exactly. I thought the cast was great. It's a pretty small cast, and every performer was great. I think Batista gets another chance to shine and add another sort of performance to his tool belt. Tim the Tool Man Sailor. Yeah, he's great. He was great in Glass Onion, and he's great here. Jonathan Groff, who plays one of the fathers, is really tremendous in a show on Netflix called Mindhunters. I don't know if you've seen that, but he's great there. He's great again here. And Rupert Grint as one of the intruders is very good. I think he's continued to make interesting choices post Harry Potter. But yeah, I thought it was pretty solid. Nothing, special. Not great, not bad. Just straight down the middle for me. What did you guys think?
I want to preface everything I say. I don't know if you already covered this, Laura, but I'm the only one who hasn't actually read the book. You two have read the book, so I can't say how much it stays true to the source material or not. I thought the performances in the movie were all really good. I don't have any complaints about any of the performances. One of the downsides to the movie for me at least is that it's so like secluded in terms of like the set. Like it's all basically shot in one, small area, which it can work for movies, but in this one it just kind of felt like it got stale after a little bit. I like the idea, like the premise of the book and the movie. It's very cool, very interesting. Like you said, Dave Bautista, I was really impressed by, because normally Guardians of the Galaxy, he plays like a more comedic role, and even Glass Onion, it's kind of a more like comedic relief type role, and he does those very well. But this was a much more serious role, and I think he really took the lead in this one. Not that everybody else didn't do a great job, because they did, but I think his performance kind of was like an outlier to me.
Yeah, for sure. It was nuanced. He was in Blade Runner 2049 within a very small role, but it was a more dramatic sort of role than we're used to seeing from him. But here, it's a big performance. He's the top billed actor in the movie.
Yeah.
And I thought he was great. Like I said, it's nuanced. He's got to be menacing and intimidating,
Right.
but he also has almost this childlike quality where he's very there are scenes with him and Wen where they're catching grasshoppers.
Right.
He's just very good at relating to children and being soft and kind also, and I think he balances the two very well. What did you think of the movie, Laura?
I was actually pleasantly surprised for like the first 3/4 of the movie. It pretty much stayed true to the source material, as you guys are calling it, to the book. So I was really happy about that. I just wish that they stayed true all the way to the end, because I feel like if they were to stay true to what happened in the book, it would have had more of an impact on everybody than what actually occurred. I mean, you still get the impact from one of the fathers dying, but
Yeah.
it would have been crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually surprised how faithful it is to
Yeah.
an extent, because I would say 85% of the movie is faithful to the novel.
Yeah.
But spoilers again for the novel. There's a scene in the movie where they're kind of fighting over the gun, and in the novel, during that scene, when the little girl gets shot, and
Yeah, by a stray bullet in the crossfire.
she dies, and it's very emotional, and her death impacts the rest of the novel all the way through to the ending.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen here. In fact, in the novel, the ending is very ambiguous. You don't
Right.
really know
it
if this
doesn't give
is
you
Yeah.
it doesn't like wrap it up for you at the end.
Yeah,
You
there's
don't know
no
whether the
clear-cut answer.
apocalypse was actually going to happen or anything like that.
And in this, it's definitively
Right.
the world. These people were right. The world is ending,
Yeah.
and
Making that sacrifice saved the world.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
in the book, it's not like that because they had lost one in an accident and it didn't count towards saving everyone from the apocalypse because they didn't choose to sacrifice her. It just happened on accident. So Eric and Andrew end up leaving after everybody else is dead, and they basically don't care what happens to everybody
Yeah, their
else.
world was already over.
Yeah, their world was already over because they lost their most precious thing.
Yeah. And I understand the need to make the ending a little more mainstream, I guess. This is, a mainstream
Wrap it up
picture.
a little better than just leave it.
But I do think I was thinking about the ending of the book for a long time after reading it. And this ending, while it's fine, it's not a bad ending. It's just it doesn't have the same impact for me.
Right.
Rob,
Yeah.
as someone who didn't read the book, what did you think of the ending?
I actually mentioned after the movie when we were kind of briefly going over it that I wish it was more ambiguous because the ending that they do have in the movie where they're kind of like driving off into the sunset and
Yeah.
it's like it's very cliche and there's not necessarily a problem with that. I mean, everybody loves a happy ending, right? But I would have liked it more if I love when movies leave it up to the watcher, the viewer to like
Draw your own
decide
conclusions, yeah.
draw your own conclusions, decide for yourself what happened. Like the ending to The Thing is like a great example of that where like is Childs a thing? Is he not a thing? Like that whole question. I love when it's like it leaves you thinking after the movie and you got to decide for yourself, kind of make your own headcanon for the movie,
Yeah.
whether or not that's true. That's only, you can decide.
Yeah.
But you mentioned briefly earlier about Rupert Grint and how he's done a bunch of interesting things after Harry Potter. I don't think I've seen him in anything other than Harry Potter in this. And I was reading an article recently that said that he felt suffocated, I think was the word that they used, from the role as Ron in Harry Potter because he did it for so long. And I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that.
I feel like it's also very hard to come out of something like that because people are expecting like that one thing from you.
Yeah. They know you as this thing,
Right.
and they'll always know you as this thing no matter what.
Trying to go into like different genres or like different roles, people are just going to be like, oh, well, it's not Ron from Harry Potter, so it's not, it doesn't live up to your expectation.
Right.
So I can understand why it would feel suffocating because you feel like you have to kind of surpass what you were in the biggest role of your life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely a lot of pressure, I would think.
Yeah. I think he and Daniel Radcliffe have both kind of embraced weirder, less mainstream roles since Harry Potter. They've used their fame to take on interesting projects that they want to be a part of, not necessarily
For like,
the popular
fame,
mainstream
yeah.
things that they were in the spotlight with for so long.
He was also, I just want to point out that it's like a funny thing. He was in one of Ed Sheeran's music videos because everyone always said that they look similar.
Yeah.
I don't think they look that similar, to be honest. I mean, they have
just
red
both-
hair.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
white guys with
yeah,
red hair.
that's it. It's the only thing similar.
Yeah.
But I just think it's funny that they, like, he was cast in that because they both thought it was amusing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the performances. like when some of these characters would get like teary eyed and you'd see them get like emotional, like you could actually like feel that like emotion.
Yeah.
Sometimes in movies you see that and you're just kind of like, oh, Cry Me a River, like you can't actually buy it, but it was very believable from these actors. They did a good job.
Absolutely. And even like being in that one location sort of set, the stakes felt very high throughout the movie, and that's a testament to the actors in these performances. I do think that you're right about how you wishing that the movie would have been more ambiguous with the ending. One of my gripes is how on the nose some of it is. The ending is very, spelled out for you, and even like things where one character is like, they're the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Like, those aren't things that need to really be said. Like
Right.
they don't need to hold our hands so much. It's these are things that the viewer should be able to draw the connection to themselves. We don't need every little thing spelled out for us.
It's funny because before they even mentioned that, I was like, are these guys supposed to represent the four horsemen of the apocalypse? But then the names of the four horsemen that they gave, I was like, those aren't the four horsemen of the apocalypse I'm familiar with. So maybe I'm thinking of different horsemen. I don't know, but they call them like nurturing, guidance, and like, what was it? Healing, nurturing, guidance, healing, and malice. Was that the other one?
I think Malice, yeah.
Which I've never ever heard the horsemen of the apocalypse ever
So
referred to as
maybe
any of
just
those.
like different source words, I guess.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
They couldn't use the exact because it would be
Yeah.
Copyrighted.
they had to make up their own. But it's actually funny that you say that because my whole time reading the book, that didn't even come to mind. Like, I get it, the Apocalypse Four Horsemen, but I just thought they were all crazy.
Well, in the book, that's left up to your interpretation.
Right.
Like, they made it seem like they were just crazy people that met on some
Forum.
some
exactly.
weird internet
Reddit.
and it's actually when they do make that connection where Redmond, who is actually O'Bannon or whatever,
Jeff O'Bannon,
was the one who attacked. Was it Eric or Andrew that was attacked? Eric, right?
Eric,
Yeah.
No. Andrew was attacked.
Andrew was attacked in the bar years previously, and how they were like, oh, this is just a setup. We were targeted. This guy doesn't like these people.
Yeah.
And
he's a bigot. He's got something against gay people.
So he just went on this site and was like, oh, this, and this. And it was like, oh, I saw this too. Like, putting the ideas out there. So it really does leave it up to you to wonder if they were actually having these visions or if they were just reading these things and thinking like, oh shit, yeah, that's true, that's right.
Yeah, and it's a nice parallel to the real world where people
like
reading information and taking it at face value.
Blindly following anything that they see online, thinking it'll be true.
There was one scene in the movie that really had me like wondering, like, wait a minute, when like the tsunami is incoming and they have the person recording, and like, they get hit by the wave and the camera's going like, whoa, crazy. I'm like, how the fuck did they get that footage? Like, were they live streaming the tsunami hitting
washed up to ABC News?
Well, maybe they got it from their iCloud.
Yeah, no, they
So
were.
it was like, my family member was there. Let me check their iCloud.
They were in a helicopter and dropped the ladder. Get the camcorder! Get the camcorder!
Yeah. Also, the fact that wave was coming in and they were just standing
They were
there
just
looking at
watching.
it. Hell no! If I see anything larger than like 2-3 feet,
I think by
Hell
that
no.
point, even if you saw it running, you're pretty much screwed anyway.
wouldn't you at least want to try?
Yeah, I'm not saying don't
Let me
try.
wait until it gets 30 feet above my
Just
head
saying
and then start running.
If you got a
away.
wall of water 50 feet coming, hundreds of miles per hour towards you, I don't think you're outrunning that.
So would you just stand there?
No, I'm not. I already said, might as well try, but I don't think it's going to matter.
That scene made me think of this movie called Take Shelter, starring Michael Shannon. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life, and it's very ambiguous.
I've
I
never heard you
would
talk
say
about it.
it's well. I know you won't. I know you won't like it. It's a bit like slower paced and stuff. It's the kind of movie that you'll be like, it's boring, but it's the kind of movie I think Robert will really like. But the ending reminded me well, not the ending, but the tidal wave scene reminded me of the ending of Take Shelter, and I kind of wish we were just watching that movie instead.
Maybe I'll have to watch it. And
It's great. We should absolutely watch it. I would love to.
so maybe we can review that next week.
Was there a specific scene in this movie that stuck out to you guys as like really powerful, or like you really enjoyed the scene?
I don't. I would certainly wouldn't use powerful. Powerfully funny maybe, but there's before one of the breaking news reports, there's an infomercial
Oh yeah.
for an air fryer, and M. Night Shyamalan cameos as the guy who's trying to sell you on the air fryer. And it was so funny to me. I really loved it. He's in most of his movies, he has a cameo. And this was maybe my favorite cameo of his. And he's like, see how crispy this thing is?
Yeah, I actually had no idea what he looked like. So once Kurt said that, I was like, oh, where did he show up? In this infomercial. I'm like, oh, I would have had no idea.
I know that M. Night used like 90s camera lenses to kind of achieve like an old school thriller look throughout the movie.
Interesting.
And I loved when the movie started, the Universal Pictures logo with like the old school Universal Pictures logo, and I really loved that. As for scenes that really stood out to me, I loved the scene of Eric, Andrew, and Wynn singing in the car. It was very cute and helps that connection resonate a little bit. I loved the opening scene. I loved it in the novel as well, with Leonard and Wynn just chatting with each other, sitting in the grass, catching grasshoppers. And a scene that's different from the book. Dave Bautista's Leonard is sitting on the back porch. He wants to go outside. He's going to take his own life as a sacrifice. And he's kind of peacefully telling them, he's telling the truth. He views these people as friends. He's talking about these kids that he teaches and how he wants the world to be a better place for them. And he's like, please make this sacrifice. Don't let all of this be in vain. And I thought he was fantastic in that scene. And even though that's different from the book, I thought it was pretty good, pretty powerful. What about you?
Well, like I said, I feel like it would have been more impactful and powerful if they had held true to the book, and Wen was the one that was killed on accident. I know that's kind of fucked up to say. She's a 7-year-old girl, but
Laura hates children.
No, I just feel like reading that book, literally my jaw dropped open. Yeah. I even remember reading it, and I went into Kurt's room, and I'm just like, Wen is fucking dead. Like, what? I did not see it coming at all.
Yeah, I had to reread that passage. I was like, wait a second. Did
I read that actually correctly? Think I did go back and reread too. I'm like, wait, am I fucking reading this right? That she died? She's dead? So I do think it would have been a lot more powerful if that were to happen. But at the scene where Eric is standing in front of Andrew, he's like, no, like, it'll be me. It's fine. I love you guys.
Yeah.
I want to go out thinking of like your guys' future and how happy you guys made me. And like that's, you just hear the gunshot, like you don't see it happen. It just goes to like a blind screen, and then.
Interestingly enough, if I recall correctly, you don't actually see any of the deaths like happen. It's kind of all off screen.
You do see like some blood, but you do not see some blood, any gore. Like you don't see like any of.
You hear some of it, but it's all just off camera.
But you still get that impact from like them dying, because you can see like them dragging their bodies out and like having to wrap them in blankets or carpet or whatever, and take them into the next room. So you still have the effect from it without actually seeing them physically die, which is cool, I guess.
Yeah, I know Shyamalan gets kind of bullied a bit on the internet. People really think he's a bad director, but he's made some of my personal favorite movies. The Sixth Sense is fantastic. Signs is fantastic. Unbreakable is fantastic. I even really like The Village. I know a lot of people hate that movie. I really like it. And, movies like Lady in the Water and The Happening aren't like good movies, but they're fun for me. So,
They do stick out though, like The Happening. I think
The Happening's so bad, but it's so much fun.
the only thing, I'll think about this randomly. You know when that guy gets hit by the car,
Yeah.
but he ends up surviving, but then he like picks up the broken glass off of the road and he just like starts.
Yeah.
I'll randomly think about that, and that's really weird. So
What are you trying to say?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, random. Even if they're not portrayed as like the best films, like they still stick with you
Yeah.
throughout.
There's a scene in The Happening that I've kind of Mandela affected myself on. One of the characters is like talking to Mark Wahlberg's character. He's like, "Do you like hot dogs?" And I remember like talking to my brothers, like joking about it, and Mark Wahlberg being like, "Of course I like hot dogs, duh." And that, like, I don't remember if that's just something we said to each other, or if that's actually a line in the movie.
Should we
So we're gonna
go
have to
back and
rewatch
watch
it
it?
and see. Of course I like hot dogs, duh,
I've-
is in the movie.
Never seen The Happening.
What?
We should get
Never seen it.
drunk and
That's
watch
one where
it.
like the trees are releasing
Yeah.
some type of thing to make
It's
people
the
kill themselves.
dumbest thing you've ever fucking
Yeah,
seen.
it's so
and
much
you're
Well, it
like,
won't be the dumbest thing. I've seen some pretty dumb movies.
It
Yeah,
might
well,
be.
this will-
If you haven't seen Happening.
We've seen Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving.
Well, okay, well, sure.
I haven't seen this.
But all this is to say that Shyamalan's direction in this movie is very good. I thought it was a very strong performance from him behind the camera. I don't the script itself was lacking a little for me, but
also
the
they're going
dialogue
off
he's
the
got
book,
a
though. So if they're staying true to the book, I feel like you
Yeah.
can't really be too mad at it.
That's true. But yeah, his direction was strong. A typo in my little fact sheet here.
So and I was looking at your fact sheet, and you said that the release date was moved up 2 weeks so that this wouldn't compete with Ant-Man and the Wasp. And
It's supposed to say Quantumania.
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 I just thought that was a little funny. But also,
It's great that they did that because it would literally get blown out of the water if it had to compete with Ant-Man.
Yeah.
but do you think in terms of quality or in terms of just,
No,
it's a
just-
Marvel movie, people have to go out
No,
and see
people-
it?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
people
It's
are
a
going to go
Marvel
see
movie, so
that,
they're
yeah.
100% going to
It's
see
gonna
that.
it's gonna be
over
on so
and
many
over.
screens and
Yeah. So smart.
Are you
move.
guys excited for that movie?
I've actually never seen any of the. I think
Neither
I've
have
seen
I.
like bits and pieces of the first one, but I've never seen any of them all the way through. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if maybe I need to actually know what's happening.
I don't know. Like I'm gonna watch it, but I
Well,
just
like
feel-
in the preview to this one, you see like he has a daughter and like all.
Yeah.
So like I don't. We're obviously gonna need to know that backstory, so
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna have to watch it.
it's just so tough because it's all connected to everything now, and it's just even though I do really enjoy some of the Marvel things, it's just so much work to stay
Yeah.
caught up on all of it now that I fall behind.
Oversaturated.
Oversaturated, exactly.
Did either of you guys watch Loki?
No,
No.
you did.
Yeah.
I wish they would have made it into a film rather than a TV series, and really made it good. I heard the show wasn't that great, and if they really put the effort they would have into it, like a Thor movie that they did Loki, they would have. It would have.
I heard from most people it was great, and then Rob watched it and told me that it wasn't really.
I don't think it was horrible, but I also don't think it really stood out to me as something that is a need to watch, like a must see. I guess if you're watching Marvel movies, you have to watch everything just to know what the fuck is going on anyway.
Maybe if M. Night Shyamalan directed it, it would have been better.
M. Night Shyamalan's Ant-Man and the Wasp.
New thriller.
Okay, so I was trying to think of a question to ask you guys to kind of close the episode out. We'll come back around to our ratings, but I want to do this first.
All right.
The first question that I came up with, I eventually decided was a little too dark and heavy. It was, if we had to sacrifice one member of Admit 3 in order to save the world, who would you choose?
I
But I was like,
I know
they'll
it's
say
really-
themselves, but
No,
then I was like, what if they say me because I'm the one that's not blood related?
No. See, that question wouldn't work because literally all of us would say,
no.
"Oh, sacrifice yourself."
But
Like,
here's
we'd
the
all
thing.
sacrifice ourselves.
it would make more sense for me to go, one, Robert has a kid.
Next
And
question.
Two, no, shut up. Two, you have a wife, and I don't have kid or any
But you
significant...
have 2 cats that would miss you.
You guys can take care of them.
I don't want
But
to
I'm
do
saying
that. I'd rather die.
it'll be in my will that you have to keep them.
God damn
No,
it.
the most logical thing would be for me to go out.
All right. Well, thanks for answering the question. So the alternative idea I had, I thought was fun. This week, Dave Bautista was in the news because he said he'd love to star in a rom-com, but doesn't think anyone will ask him to do it because, quote, he's a little rough around the edges. I thought it'd be fun for the 3 of us to give our quick pitches for a Bautista starring romance flick. Dave, if you're listening, we've got you, man. We're gonna get you cast in a romance
We
flick.
will get you signed. 100%.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Do you want me to say mine first because I only said 2 things?
Yeah, sure, go ahead. Yeah, mine's a bit longer.
Kurt wrote a
I
whole
really
script.
thought mine out here.
So I know this is like nothing, but if you were to think of like a really cheesy like movie poster about like the girl looking up to the corner of the poster like with a quizzical look on her face, and then the movie title is going to be something about Dave, because you know they don't want to cast Dave, so the whole fucking movie is going to be about Dave, and then it's going to be starring Dave Bautista and Kate Hudson, and you know what?
Glass
gonna be
Onion
great.
stars reunited.
They both were great in Glass Onion. They're going to be great in my film.
What was the title of the movie again?
Something about Dave.
Something about Dave. So this is like a literal, like
Yeah.
Dave Bautista playing Dave Bautista.
Well,
as
he doesn't
Dave
have to be
Bautista.
Dave Bautista, but he's going to be Dave in the film.
Oh, I see. Okay. Dave Chappelle.
My movie is called Cage of Love.
Oh,
let me,
I get it. Like the WWE
Yeah,
cage.
well, let me.
Okay, yeah. You do
let
your
me,
thing.
let me. Dave Bautista stars as a professional wrestler named Luke Lightning, aka The Shocker. During the biggest match of his career, a cage match, Luke falls off the top of the cage and is forced into retirement by the injury he sustains. While rehabbing his injury and clinging to his dream of a comeback, sparks fly between the Shocker and his perpetually single nurse, played by Sandra Bullock, of course.
I knew
And
it.
Luke Lightning realizes he was meant to be a lover, not a fighter, all along. The poster is Dave Bautista, free falling from the cage while the crowd watches it on. Someone in the crowd is holding a pink sign that has the title Cage of Love painted in red letters with a heart beside it. And the tagline on the poster is, "He's falling."
You really put a lot into this, and I like how you used your, was that supposed to be like your, what's that guy called? In the center of the cage, like introducing them.
The ring announcer or whatever?
Yeah,
No.
like the,
This is my real voice, Laura. I don't know what you're talking about.
When you first told us about this question before we did this podcast, I knew immediately somebody was going to pick her to go with Dave Bautista. I was like, it's going to happen. It's got to be. I knew it was going to happen.
She's
I
gotta be
do
in
love
it.
her, but I can't picture them together.
Well, just wait for my matchup. It's probably even more unbelievable.
Let's hear it.
So my pitch was Dave Bautista and Natalie Portman. Dave Bautista is an ex-gang kingpin, and he's trying to reform his life after some tough, event. Maybe he went to prison, maybe he lost a family member, whatever. He's trying to reform himself, and he finds this woman. They fall in love, but his troubled past is following him. They want him to, stay in the gang, keep leading their gang or whatever. It's your typical, quirky comedy romance movie, and then twist at the
gangs.
end. Natalie
part of it.
Portman
She's
is
back.
actually a rival gang leader.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
But they still fall in love, and they decide to end the beef. They squash the beef.
It's like Romeo and
That's it.
Juliet.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Someone
Hopefully
has to
they
make
live.
this. Someone has to make it.
Well, speaking of things that have to get made, when I was going over this question in my own movie with Sherry, my wife, your
Our
sister.
sister.
You know your sister, Sherry. She had this idea that the movie should be about Dave Bautista going to his agent and wanting to cast a rom-com. And so they tried to set up all these different rom-com movies with different actresses who are known for being in rom-com movies. And eventually he falls in love with one of them, and that is what the movie ends up being about. And I was like, holy shit, this is so meta and perfect.
Yeah.
This should happen. This should be greenlit right now.
It's very
So-
self-aware.
Now Dave Bautista has to star in all 3 of these films. Someone
Yeah.
needs to write them.
All 4.
No,
Her movie.
I didn't even make a whole thing. I
No,
just
who cares? That'll
no.
be
I
good.
didn't either. I just came up with that on the spot.
I know, but that was great. That would actually I feel like that would be a great film.
I want to watch all of them.
Yeah.
At this
I
point,
would
I would
watch
watch
all of them.
anything with Dave Bautista, Kate Hudson, Sandra Bullock, Natalie
You
Portman.
know what? I feel like you should write the script to each of these movies, and then
She's signing you up for a lot of
we
work.
need to
here.
get M. Night Shyamalan
I was gonna say,
to
I
direct
think
all
I
of them.
want M. Night Shyamalan to write and direct all of these.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I'd watch.
Yeah, Dave Bautista, we've got you. You'll be in a romance film this time next year. I guarantee
Hopefully
it.
3 or 4. Based
Oh, he'll
on,
be. He'll
yeah.
definitely be in a lot of movies next year. I don't know about romance. Maybe not. But
Well, that's what we're trying to achieve. It'll be rom-com.
we're trying to achieve. We're going to be the force behind Dave Bautista getting a rom-com role.
We are.
The power
yeah.
of manifestation.
The power of Admit 3, baby.
So, and what do you guys want to do the final scores for Knock at the Cabin?
Yeah.
AKA The Cabin at the End of the World, which was the better title.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. I would give it a 3 out of 5. I liked that it stayed mostly true to the book, but I just really wish they would have stayed 100% throughout, because it would have been a lot more impactful if they did that. So I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't really give that punch to want me to give it higher than a 4, because that's hard for me to do. So a solid 3 for me.
Yeah, I actually agree. There were certain scenes that I felt this is really good. I was thinking maybe 3.5, but by the end of the film, really settled into a 3. It's just a solid, straightforward sort of thriller. If it was like on TV or something, and I was flipping through the channels, I wouldn't mind catching on TV. It's fine. Didn't think it was great or special, but it's good. It's just like solid good. And sometimes that's okay. 3 out of 5.
It's serviceable.
Robert rated it a 0.
I feel like I'm really copping out here because I also am giving it a 3 out of 5.
Wow.
I think this might be the first movie we've all
Wow, we've all
unanimously
agreed.
agreed
Well,
on.
Admit 3.
Wait,
We're giving them all
Admit 3
3.
gives it a 3. Yeah. Violent Night last year, I think we all gave a 4,
Yeah.
but we weren't doing.
Did we? I thought we gave it a
podcast.
4.5.
No, I give it a 4.5.
I think we all gave it a 4.
No, I said that I really like that movie. No, because I gave Glass Onion 4.5. So yeah, it was a 4.
Okay. Either way, yeah, I give this movie a 3. There's a couple issues I had with it, like the ending being too completely straightforward. I would have liked it to be a little bit more ambiguous, to leave it up to the viewer to come up with their own conclusions. And also the set being so restricted. That can work in some movies, but I feel like because it was so restricted, the pacing felt a little bit off at some points in the movie.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought the performances were really good. I like the premise of the movie, and I thought there were some cool scenes in the movie too. So I'd give it a 3 out of 5. It's viewable. I probably wouldn't mind watching it again, but I don't think it's extravagant in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Like Kurt said, if it was playing and there was nothing else to watch,
Yeah.
it'd be fine to have in the background. But
All right. Well, those are our thoughts on Knock at the Cabin and the rom-coms that Dave Bautista should star in, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and whatever the hell else we talked about.
here's a question for you guys: if this situation were to occur between you and whoever you went on vacation with,
Who would you sacrifice?
do you guys think you would be able to come to a conclusion and make a sacrifice, or if you would just be like, y'all are crazy, whatever happens, happens? Let us know.
So, in this situation, it's like completely unknown whether or not these people are crazy or if,
Right. In the book, you
Okay.
have no idea whether or not what they're saying is actually true or if it's just a coincidence that these things are happening. Because, like you said in the, like they said in the movie and the book, some of these things happened prior and he was checking his watch. So it could have very well been they already knew this stuff was happening.
Right.
And they were just timing it perfectly so that it would work out in this way.
Yeah.
So you never know.
So take what the intruders are saying at face value and make a choice. Kill your spouse, kill your kids.
You heard it here first, folks.
Well, we'll see you next time. Don't forget to tune in on
Wednesdays.
Wednesday.
I'm very excited for this next episode of The Last of Us. I think that we're in for a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
I know last episode you said, Kurt, that it's like the best one in the season, or at least a lot of people online.
Yeah, this is what
have
people have
watched the
said,
whole
yeah.
season.
Yeah, I agree.
I think maybe we're gonna get
Even better?
blindsided. I mean, like it might go uphill.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, it's been very consistently great so far.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where it goes.
I'd
And
love
that
to
will
see,
drop on Monday.
I'd love to see more. Well, that will drop on Wednesday. This episode is releasing on Monday.
So why did you say Wednesday, Kurt?
Wednesday is
The Last of
Us. You said
We weren't talking about The Last of Us
you
then.
said tune in on Wednesday for The Last of Us.
That's not what I said.
I thought that's what
Wednesday
you were
is
saying.
anyway. Tune in on Wednesday for The Last of Us. Thank you guys for listening.
Monday and Wednesday, you'll have us both.
Yeah, you'll hear something. Hey guys, be sure to follow us on social media. We are at Admit3Pod on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.